All right, AC. AC, AC.
That way.
Thank you.
You as well.
All right, Hall H. Hall H on the first day. No wait. Slight wait. Slight 15-minute wait. All right, we're going in. Let's go in, Owen. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Right side, right side.
Thank you. Woo! This way, Owen. Yeah, we're going to Hall H. Let's go. Ooh, Transformers. Let's go. Thank you. Woo! Thank you. That's where you go for the free stuff.
Hall H, please welcome to the stage the Senior Director of Programming for Comic-Con International, Mr. Eddie Ibrahim.
Well, oh, thank you. Welcome to Thursday at Comic-Con. I am sensing a lot of energy in this room right now. I'm sensing a lot of it. This is great. We're very, very excited to finally get to start Hall H this year. Hope you guys are all excited for all the great stuff we're going to have over the weekend. And good. And obviously we are very excited to have our traditional group start us off, and they always start us off well. A couple things.
Man, people of Hall H, it's so great to be here with you today. First day, first panel. Comic-Con 2024. This is a thrill for me to be back here hosting a Q&A, especially for something like Transformers. I was the perfect age when Transformers came on the scene. I was around 8 years old in 1984. School got out at 3 o'clock. Transformers started at 4, and it was like a ticking clock to get home. And the Oscar-winning director of Toy Story 4, and the director of this film, Josh Cooley.
A similar experience to a Transformer movie that you're used to, and in a way, it's completely different. And so I think everybody's going to see the world in a different way now. And for me, I think for all
16, later known as Megatron, and Chris Hemsworth as Peaceful Orion Max. Will be Optimus Prime.
Wow.
So this is the Church of Geekdom. It's time to testify. What is your connection to the Transformers? Who has a good Transformers origin story of their own?
Anthony, my story is very much like yours. Coming home from school, pleading with my mother, like, please, can I will do the homework. I promise I will do the homework.
Turn off the stove.
Turn off the stove. Let me please watch the show. And I absolutely love watching the show. I'm sorry, I gotta get this out of the way because this has been in my head for the last couple of days. Transformers, more than me, Steve. Now, okay, that's what I wanted. Now, what, do you guys know this part? Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. Right?
You all really know this whole
They know it, right? Oh, that's good. Okay, so now we know who's over 40.
Right.
Robots. I used to try. It's funny. There's a thing in the movie. There's a thing I do with my voice in the movie, and it's inspired by what I did earlier in my year because there was one Transformer named Soundwave. And Soundwave, right? And Soundwave has a voice that's different than everybody else's voice. He has that kind of robot voice, and he used to always try to make that robot voice. And so that's
Very monotone.
Yeah, like that monotone. Yeah, that kind of like an actual robot voice. So yeah, I love Soundwave.
Made him a little scarier because.
Yeah, it made him more very ominous. Very ominous. Yeah.
So Brian and Chris, how about you guys? Well, what was your favorite of these characters when you were kids?
You know, it's really funny. They asked me this the other day, and I was a fan of this very underrated Transformer named Ratchet. And I was like...
It's the Doctor.
Yeah, right. But also really curmudgeonly and mean, and I was like, is that where the term Ratchet came from? I was like, oh, it makes sense now. And that was the one I was the most fascinated by. But I also, for some reason, when I was younger, my parents only got me villain toys.
They saw something.
I don't know how I truly feel about that. But yeah, I used to have Skeletor and like, you know, but I had Megatron and like I would always make them the hero. So like, you know, because I always feel like villains don't always start that way. Like something happens, you know, a turn of events happens and they follow their righteousness to this place. So being able to actually be Megatron is like a dream come true. And to do it with these two, like that was a big reason why I signed on. And Josh. So like, you know, but I was a villain kid toy. That was like I was the villain kid all the time. Yeah.
Keep an eye on you. That's good.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
You should keep an eye on me.
Chris, the lore around you is that you grew up in the outback in the wild, raised by animals.
Yeah, you were really surprised when I said we have toys in Australia.
Yeah.
Weapons and dangerous animals. Yeah, I had a few of the action figures and the robots and so on as a kid, and like most of us, I think, who have some sort of attachment or history to the Transformers, had played with them and recreated and created stories and little adventures in the backyard, and did our best to pull them apart and then try and reassemble them, which is quite challenging. We had
very hard.
We had a task with that the other day. And we all failed, actually. We couldn't reassemble any of them. But yeah, the sort of you know, the reminder of it, the nostalgia around it was something that I still, you know, hold so dear to my heart, and there's such fond memories I have of what these films inspired, or the cartoons, the stories, what they represented, instilled sort of hope and justice, injustice, right, wrong, and all the sort of the subtle lessons as a kid that you're tuning into or picking up, but the sheer escapism too, and the fantasy of it, at any age, I find is just so captivating, and what is so brilliant about the world of Transformers. So it's certainly an honour to be a part of it.
We saw a little bit. Let's hear for that. We saw a little bit of D16 and Orion's relationship in that clip. They're getting each other in trouble. They're obviously friends. They're brobots.
Oh wow! Right off the top.
Trademark.
Wow. I tried to avoid that term in making this movie.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Sorry. And then I just drop it out there. But they're friends. They're not. There's no hint of any animosity. So tell me about how they start versus how your performance changes as you go along.
Well, Chris and I thought it was important for us to spend several months together to figure out what that friendship was.
Yep. So
which was great.
we got bunk beds.
Yeah, we got bunk beds. Yeah, that was really great.
A few sleepovers. The action figures.
All of that. It was wonderful.
I think that was, for both of us, sort of the appeal was, again, the origin story, which we keep talking about, and unlocking the history or creating the history around the fact that they were friends. They started off as friends, and how do two best friends become mortal enemies. And look, the way sort of animation works is different to a film set where you're on a set with one another and you're interacting and you're seeing what the other person's doing in the moment. We would individually shoot our scenes, and then lucky enough we would get to see what each other had done, and that would really influence my performance anyway, you know, to see the sort of fantastic things that you were throwing into the character, and then that would make me alter my version of it, and it was the first time I've done animation, and really exciting to see it all the pieces come together. And I really sort of, you know, to Josh, what an incredible job to assemble those pieces, because you sort of hand it off and hope that it ends up in the right place. But we had a beautiful script, and it was a sort of a fun sort of relationship to work on.
The performance itself changes, the way you voice these characters from the beginning to the end. Can you walk me through a little the evolution? Because they actually sound a lot alike at the beginning. The way they talk, they're like friends. If you meet people who've been friends for a long time, they kind of seem similar. They seem like brothers.
When we started, we knew that we were starting, you know, at the very beginning of these young bots discovering each other, discovering a friendship. So we knew that there had to be a little bit more of a youthfulness, something very close to, I think, to who we are. And I know for me with D16, I wanted to make sure that you could hear kind of the precociousness, and you could hear that there was like levity, and that he, you know, once he teamed up with Orion, it was all bets off, like just the joy that came out of him, the camaraderie that came out of him, so that when you went on the journey and actually saw him turn, you could actually feel all of that, you could feel the weight. And I think that's just something that I like to do, especially in animation. I know when I did Spider-Man, I really wanted to make people feel, thank you. Yeah. It's a little film, Spider-Man. But I wanted that. I always try to find the heart, right? Like no matter what, just because it's animation doesn't mean that these lives are any less important or that they don't have emotions or range. So I just wanted to make sure that the viewer always felt like they were brought into, you know, the trajectory that these characters are going through. So with D16, you know, we all know that he ultimately becomes Megatron, but I also wanted people to walk away feeling for him and understanding, like, oh, okay, we get it. We absolutely get that the world that he saw was very disillusioned, and like he wanted to just, I don't know, make things better in his mind. So I just wanted to show that kind of evolution of when he started, so therefore once Megatron happened, they're like, oh, damn, you know, like, yeah, there's no turning back now.
Well, I mean, it's a fantasy story, obviously, but there's something real in it. And I was talking about this with my son, is that notion of even little kids know, sometimes you're friends with somebody and something happens, somebody steps on the other person's toes, and you can't get along, and suddenly you stop being friends.
It's one of the worst heartbreaks.
It's a real thing, right?
Yeah, I think like losing a friend is one of the worst heartbreaks. So it's like, it's different from losing a lover. Like, you know, at least with a lover, we signed on for this commitment of, you know, something a little bit deep. But a friendship is like it's absolute family. Like, and so when you lose a friend, which I'm sure all of us in here have had that happen to us, where our friend, we outgrew each other, or they could no longer go on this path with us, it resonates now. Like, you still feel it now. Like, I think about the friends that I lost when I was like in the 3rd grade, and it still is like, oh man, like, where, I hope none of them are here, by the way.
Let's bring them out right now.
Like, oh god!
All of Ryan's ex-friends.
All my ex-friends. But no, it's true, like, just the loss of friendship is something that I think all of us can understand, but also just the idea of friendship is something that we all cherish. So like, to actually see that these two iconic characters actually had a friendship and actually lost it, like, to see what that was, you know, it is heartbreaking.
Keegan, your character comes in, he's a sort of proto-Bumblebee, he doesn't go by Bumblebee yet.
Right.
But he's an example of when you have 2 really tight friends and then suddenly there's a 3rd person there who's very eager. Tell us, tell us about B127.
Eager is definitely a word I would use to describe B127. I think what he does is he spends a good deal of time, instead of kind of admiring them and observing them, he really is like a metal wedge. He's really trying to get in there, and he's like, he really insists that the 3 of us are going to be a trio now. It's really going to be a trio, and they're just like, take it easy, and so that dynamic, I think, lends itself to a lot of comedy, and there's all range of emotions in this picture. There's lots of levity, but there's lots of deep heartfelt moments, and so it's interesting being the 3rd wheel and trying to be and trying like, no, but it's a tricycle. We're a tricycle. I don't care which wheel I am. I just want to be one of the wheels. I'll be one of the back wheels. I don't care. But so yeah, it was a fun dynamic to play.
Bumblebee is usually silent in the movies we've seen, or he's voiced by little clips of radio broadcasts. Tell me about changing that up, Josh, making him be actually the opposite of a motor mouth.
Yeah, you're going to give arcs to everybody. He's the best artist, somebody who can't speak. Like, let him speak a lot. And if there's anybody in the world I want to hear read the phone book, it's this guy right here. Like, everything he says is hilarious. So he was and we worked together before on Toy Story 4, and so I called him and said, please. And he said, yeah.
So I'm in. And then I talked for like 3 straight minutes.
I think also this story is essentially 3 billion years before anything we've done. So B hasn't lost his voice yet.
Yeah,
That's right, yeah.
still has a lot to say. Lorenzo, was it a risk to change up that sort of factor that you've spent many movies establishing with Bumblebee?
I think a little bit, but it did, this idea of being 3 billion years before, it did free us from...
It's a long time, there's a lot of room.
You know, to some extent, we absolutely pay homage to all the things you guys have all seen, whether it's in TV or film, but at the same time, it gave you the freedom to do something really brand new. And I think that's the exciting news for this, is you're gonna see the things you love, and then you're gonna see them in a way you've never seen them before. And that really made this an incredible process for all of us, because you know, we all have certain built-in biases and feelings about what it is, but here we are, we got a whole new group of people. But I did want to say that, you know, Scarlett thinks she's the third wheel of the tricycle.
Oh yeah, I know. Scarlett and I, we're battling for third wheel. Yeah. You turn this thing into a buggy, a four-wheeler.
Four-wheeler, yeah. Adding more wheels.
And then we transformed from a tricycle into a buggy. So
Good effect.
I tried to make that sound as many times as I could in the movie, and I don't know if it meant it worked.
And in life.
I did the other day.
You do it, yeah.
Yeah.
There is an aspect to B-127 that is a throwback to the original Bumblebees.
Yes.
I always felt that he was like the kid on the Transformer.
I did too. In that original Transformers, he was maybe not as